Alright, this is a video on how to cut and shrink wrap business cards. Okay, this is the cutter. This is the safest machine in the entire class. Okay. What this basically does, obviously, is it cuts. Up here is where you measure, and I'm going to take 11 by 17 paper, and I want to cut it to look like 8.5 by 11. So you do 8.5 and click send. And it's going to move this thing back here that measures. You slide the paper in. And this is our block. Basically what it does is it evens out all the paper so that you don't get like uneven cuts. Okay. Now right here, you step on this, and this brings this block down. And what it does is it holds the paper nice and tight so that it doesn't get an uneven cut again. And there's two handles right here. And you push both handles at the same time, and that brings the blade down. And then there's your scrap piece of paper. Now we're going to cut 11. Now this is the safest machine because there's two handles here, so there's no reason for your hands to be under the blade or anything like that, because it won't operate unless you push both at the same time.
When you're using the cutter, you need to be careful not to leave any heavy object, like even this ruler, underneath, because when you push this down, if you cut the ruler, it can chip the blade, and blades are very expensive to fix. So even something as thin as this ruler can damage the blade.
Okay, this is the cutter machine, and we use the cutter machine to cut anything from business cards to greeting cards or anything. Taylor is cutting business cards that we made in Photoshop, and if you can see right here, this black line is called a cut line, and that line is for us to determine where to cut so that we don't make a mistake like this and cut off the edge, which Taylor made a mistake. You can't do that, Taylor. You just gotta be nice too.
Okay. What is it? I think I did that wrong. Thank you.
As you can see here, Taylor missed a little bit of the business card. So if you look over here, we have a forward and reverse button. And forward moves it up just a tiny little bit rather than an entire inch, just so that we can cut off that tiny little bit of white that we missed.
And we still missed some, so we're gonna have to continue going.
This is a shrink wrap machine, and obviously this is where we shrink wrap stuff. Now we're going to take our business cards and you put it in this plastic bag. bring it down here, and through here, there's a metal rod that gets really hot and it melts the plastic. Now you want to put it through here, and it pushes that button. When that light turns off, you peel it back, and it's nice and closed. And you want to do this side also. Make sure that you don't burn yourself on all this because it'll really hurt. Okay, I'll do it again. Wait for the light to turn off. Peel this back. If you keep it on too long, you see how it's smoking? That's not good. Okay. Okay, this right here, it's kind of like an oven. It's really, really hot. What you do is you put the shrink wrapped product through, and it gets so hot that it shrinks the plastic around the paper. And this is not a perfect machine. Sometimes it has mistakes. It gets holes, it rips, it gets bubbles. So you just unwrap it and try again.
Take what you have and you put it in here, right in the corner, and you gotta pull it. Now make sure you don't pull it too close like this, because when you do this, and you pull it away, and you don't give it enough room down here either, like this, then when you send it through the shrink wrap machine, it's gonna shrink so small it'll get holes. Instead, you want to make sure you give it enough room so that when it shrinks tightly on itself, but not so tight that it gets holes. The only thing about wrapping it like this loosely is when you send it through the shrink wrap, you may have to send it through more than once.
Okay, this is the bad one. See how it's really wrinkly? It kind of looks like bubble wrap. This is because we cut the plastic around it too tight, so it kind of just like shrank the plastic. It didn't shrink around it. So this one's ruined. Hopefully the next one we have to send it through a couple times and hopefully it'll be better. Here's the front. The shrink wrap machine isn't perfect, but it's really easy to redo it. You just unwrap it. But this is what it should look like. It should look nice and flat through here. Okay, here's the 2 stacks of business cards. This one, I cut the plastic around it a little too tight, so it bubbled up, and you see how it's not shrink wrapped perfectly. This one is about as perfect as we're going to get. It's really flat, it's really nice along the business cards. And the back has a little imperfections, but this class is not perfect, so you make mistakes.
Are you concentrating?
No. Okay,
Can this be a part of the video?
No.
Lauren?
Okay. Okay, this is called the cutter. Standing there. You're gonna say something.
You guys trying to make me do it with him standing here.
I'm not saying anything.
You're gonna say midget or something, and Taylor's just gonna laugh.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay. Autumn, really? Stop it.
What are you doing?
She's been recording this entire time. Seriously, we need to start the video.
Oh, I missed it.
Autumn. It's too dark in here. You can't.
Oh, you want to bet?
Yeah, it's like a perfect picture.
Shut up, Roddy.
I'm changing my background to like ethnic and men.
Derek. Derek.
Is Derek over there? Quickly.
What?
Somebody growl at you? Like an animal?
What is your deal?
What are you guys laughing about?
Does that?
Did you see that or not? Hey, Miss Williams.